Hey guys, it's Fandiazzo, back at again with another Card Fight Vanguard deck profile, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't like, comment, subscribe, and so sorry. This time we're covering the final deck profile of DZ Set 2, Kyouka. That does not mean Kyouka is my favorite deck. Most of the time I put my favorite decks towards the end of the deck profile list because I like to talk about them the most, and it's the way to get me through the slog of deck profiles. But the reason why Kyouka's here is because Bushi decided to release the last three faded ones at the not the last three faded ones, the last two faded ones, Raziel support and Leo herself and her support cards, all into the very end of the DZ Set 2, and I wasn't about to like wait out the thumbnail ideas. So yeah, Kyouka gets here simply because they decided to add another faded one and I had to wait out the thumbnails. Anyways, Kyouka is a better deck than she was back in Lyrical Monasterio. I think it was like set 3s when she got supported, when she was introduced. I honestly don't remember. But, you know, the deck works consistently. It's got multi-attackers. It's got numbers. It's got counter charge. It's got hand cards. What's like about it? Let's just get the start, shall we, and see what we got. First of all, today we have a ride deck crest in the energy generator. You remember one ride deck crest in your ride deck. Auto ride deck. When you ride, put this card into your crest zone. If you want second energy charge 3. Continues to have 10 energies and auto beginning your ride phase. Energy charge 3. And then act once per turn. Energy boss 7. Draw a card. All around pretty solid. It's a free 3 energy every turn. This deck has no users of energy, meaning you are constantly going to be able to use that skill to pay 7 energy and draw a card, so you're constantly increasing your hand, and you charge 3 for energy every turn. I think I just said that. I don't remember. I've done a lot of deck profiles today. My man's going back and forth. Anyways, all around, it's a nice ride deck crest. I hope we eventually get a different one, so you know the deck building constructs with these are a little bit more unique, but it is what it is. It is a nice ride deck crest, though. Then move on to our starter, hashtag first step Kyouka. Great Zone boost, 5k Shosuke base, auto reply for second draw card, standard starter, enough spots to free draw if you go second. It continues the trend of me really liking the grade 0 versions of the ride lines in Lyrical Monasterio for some reason. All around, though, nice card. None of the ride line really requires her, so you can run whatever star you want to. But again, I'd like the ride line to be consistent, and also she's actually one of my favorites just because she, I don't know, track girl, I guess. I don't know. Either way, draw a card. So yeah, there we go. Then move on to our trigger. So run over trigger and Demonic Fever Gavaria. Great Zone boost, 50k shield, 5k power, over trigger, over trigger in your deck. When revealed as a trigger mode, like hard draw a card, choose one mutes. It gets plus movement for the turn. And if you revealed it during your jab check, activate its suggested fight, which you get during this fight, you get during your turn. All your rear guards get plus 10 of this power. So, you know, pretty much the entirety of the game, once you sack this offensively, your entire rear guard is plus 10, and 2 of your rear guard columns are 20k plus swings, and then the vanguard columns it takes an extra 10k, and that makes a difference when A, you have restanders, and then B, you also just have numbers anyways. Like, the over trigger for Lyrical Monasterio is so hard to come back from, like, compared to the other ones, such as the Dark Stage one, because while the Dark Stage one also leaves a game-lasting impact on it, the difference is that only gives it to one unit. Lyrical Monasterio's gives it to everyone but the Vanguard. So, like, all around, the Gavaria is just a nice overtrigger to have. You can run any Lyrical Monasterio overs that will do the exact same thing. You can run Vaughn up for more multi-attack consistency, or you can run a Spoiler for more recycling. But yeah, all around, if you sack this at all, inherently Gavaria is better, unless like you're trying to kill that turn, because Gavaria numbers, and even then most likely Gavaria will kill the turn you pull her, depending on which turn you were trying to kill on. So one of Gavaria, nice to have. Then of course we have our normal triggers. We run 2 Snow Skip Palavi and 2 Transparent Snowy Night Bear Toy. I'm covering them both at once because they have the exact same skill. So they're both grade 0s with boost 4k power. One's a front, one's a draw. Bear Toy has 5k shield, Palavi has 15, and they both have the same continuous skill where if your opponent's vanguards are grade 3 or greater, when they're on guard circle, they get an extra 5k shield. So you know, Bear Toy is a 10k shield and Palavi is a 20k shield, which are all really helpful for defending, especially when your deck is kind of filled with like a bunch of different grades to maximize the order's ability. Not to mention the fact that Palavi being a front trigger, you know, more numbers to the front row to like better pressure out the opponent, and Bear Toy, well, draw more important pieces because she's a draw trigger, and also draw more guard power because this deck loves to give my hand a bunch of cards that can't guard for some reason. What I mean by that is, even though there are only, let's see, 4 orders, 4 grade 3, so 8, plus the 2 other grade 3, so 10, so 3 plus 3 Kyouka, so 13. Even though there's only 13 cards in the deck that, you know, could actually clog my hand and not be guardable with, and the deck really loves to give me all of them, which is weird because the decks that actually have a lot of orders in them, such as Trick or Treat, for some reason, don't give me a bunch of cards I can't guard. But you know what, it is what it is either way. 2 of both those. Then of course we have our 7 crits, 3 Fluffy Lady Godleaf, Grade 0 boost, finna get show 5k power. This can really be any crit you want. I just started running her in Prisms, I think it was, and then I started running her in my other decks because this crit loved to be sacked in in Prisms, and then she proceeded to do the same thing for my other decks, so now it's kind of just like a tradition to run Godleaf in my decks. And then 4 copies of Precious 2 and Edward, Grade 0 boost, 50k shield, 4k power, critical trigger, auto rear guard, about to boost it, put this to soul, choose one views, it gives 2k for the turn. All around pretty solid. Helps increase the soul. If you somehow ran into a soul problem with Kyouka, she's there to fix it, but typically you won't. So, you know, free 7 crits for pressure. And then we have 4 heals and Peaceful Guard and Anika. Great Zone boost, 50k shield, 5k power. AK the Miracle heal for me. I think it was like the first Miracle heal I had in D because Man, when I started writing Anika, so many of my Lyrical Monasterio decks loved to Miracle Heal, and the ones that didn't love to sack 2 heals back to back on the turns that they would actually proc. Man, I hated Anika playing against it because, my god, she loved to come down whenever it screwed me over, but also whenever the deck needed saving, so there's that. Either way, for Anika, if it wasn't clear, really good luck with her. Might as well run her, but you can really run any Lyrical Monasterio heals, you can run the counter heals, but for Anika because A, good luck, and then B, much consistent 15k shield over fluctuating 10 to 25, but again, any heal you want, really. Move on to our normal grade ones. 2 copies of Mystica Policia Junifer. I'm not Jennifer. As you can see, my brain is kind of fried from all the deck profiles. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, act rear guard once per turn. If you have 4 or more units, ditch a hand card, choose a normal order from your drop zone, and it gets continuous. This card can be played from drop, and when it be put from drop after being played, put it to bottom deck instead to end of turn. So pretty much, it's like the new grade 1s we've gotten for every deck in DZ set 2, where they can just basically search an order from deck and place in a drop. The reason why I don't run that one here is because we don't really need to, because we already get the free search for it anyways, so we might as well be able to play the ones that are already in drop rather than having to deck them for one, especially if the fact that it has to specifically go from deck. So Jennifer being able to proc from drop is nice, even if it's just only discarding one, and most of the time you will have a full board, considering you want to have a full board for the card effects to go off, so you don't even have to worry about the 4 more units thing. All around Jennifer is nice. She doesn't cost CB, she doesn't cost soul, she just costs 1 discard to play an order, which is nice to have. So, you know, 2 of Jennifer, good card in the deck. And we have 3 copies of Best Choice Ladima. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, act rear guard. If you have a grade 3 or grade Vanguard Kyouka in its card name, put her to soul, choose a grade 2 or grade unit card from your drop zone with a different card name from your Vanguard, put it at the top of the deck and out to your hand. Okay, cool. Recycle these units back to top. Sadly, it can't fetch Persona Rides, which sucks, but hey, she gets you a soul card, so you know, more fluctuating, getting rid of possible soul problems with Kyouka, but also she allows you to put your import teams back to top of the deck, and considering the order allows you to draw cards, it allows you pretty much to get back your imported units almost immediately, so Laudima is just a nice grade 1 to have, so 3 of. Then we have 4 copies of Today's Selfie with a Heart Fetus. So, Freitas. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, continuous deck. If you have Vanguard with Kyouka in his card name, when you would search or choose a magazine card from your deck, you may search or choose this card instead. So, pretty much, you can, whenever you use Kyouka's skill, you can either pull this or you can pull a magazine, which is nice, you know, always a target for Kyouka. And then auto back row rear guard circle. At the end of your turn, retire this unit, choose a card with Kyouka in its card name or a magazine from your drop zone, put it to hand. Cool. It's a Persona Ride searcher. It can recycle your magazines, so you know you can use Fredis to either get back the magazines and not have to use Jennifer next turn, or you can use her to fetch back the Persona Rides and then still use Jennifer next turn because you know you'll have the hand cards for it, which is nice. Being able to get a Persona Ride and also being like search target in case your magazine's already out of deck, so you can quickly add her to hand and have an 8k swinger on board or 8k booster or even just a 5k shield that can also recycle Persona Rides. All around, she's a very nice grade 1 to have. At first, I didn't really like her when I saw her, but then after playtesting her, she really added to the consistency of the deck, so she's a nice 4 of. And we have our 4 PGs and a musical committee Nicoline. Grade 1 boost, 0 souls, 6k base, continue sentinel. We have to only 4 sentinels in deck. I'll put on guard circle. Choose over units. I cannot be hit on the battle. If your hand has 2 or more cards in it, choose a card from your hand's card. It's standard PG, nothing too special about it. Basically, that means if this and only one other card is in your hand, you place it on guard circle, you don't have to go great. Because that means you can be as aggressive as you want in the early game. And as you know, at this point, I love to play aggro. So having 3 different grade 1s that all have 8k bases that can just be kind of played on rear guard and have no repercussions to it whatsoever. Yeah, you're pretty much going to rush your opponent, then when your opponent counterattacks you, Nicoline, don't discard anything, give them the middle finger when you have 1 or less hand cards, automatically you're safe from any big attack they throw at you, and Nicoline is nice to have in the deck. Of course, you can run any PG you want. I just choose to make a Nicoline because Nicoline is my so-called generic PG, where pretty much every deck that wasn't released in the first set of Lyrical Monasterio, I pretty much give Nicoline just because Nicoline was the first PG I gave to like one of the decks in set 1 where it was like didn't have its own technical PG, so 4 of Nicoline. Then we have 4 copies of the thing we've been talking about this entire time, and we finally get to see reference of it. Lyrical Shooting Star S. Okay, so this are always reminding me of Megumi. For some reason, this is now reminding me specifically of my Violet from Battle Spirits Brave. To be more exact, her when she is using Double Nova. And for some reason, if not that, I only see Lelouch in this from Code Geass, and I don't understand why. I only started seeing that today, aka April 6th at 5:02 p.m., but whatever. Anyways, grade 1 normal order. At this card, if you have a Vanguard of Kyouka in its card name, perform all the following card number units on your board. 2 or more grade 1 units, draw 2 cards, ditch a hand card. 2 or more grade 2 units, choose one of your units, it gets plus 10,000 power for the turn. 2 or more grade 3 units, countercharge 1. Okay, so let me get this straight. This order is free to play, works the second you get to grade 1, because I'm telling you this right now, this entire deck, as per my other decks, only run like the the normal ride lines. So, you know, pretty much this order is playable throughout the entirety of your gameplay. But, you know, free draw 2 just by having the 2 grade 1 units on the board, which the Vanguard is one if you're playing this on grade 1. 2 or more grade 2 units, someone gets a free 10k, and to a restander like this, obviously that's going to make a difference. Not to mention the fact, free countercharge. And there's no cost to this card whatsoever. This is good, and like the entire deck is based around this one order. Honestly, like the 10k skill in my opinion is obviously the most powerful because, you know, you're using restanders, but again, free draw 2 with a unit that can not only stack that, but then, you know, go to soul for it, but then also free resource management. All around, Lyrical Shooting Star S is a very powerful normal order. It's the only order in this deck, and for those of you wondering why I'm not running the other Lyrical Monasterio, magazine order, is because I don't like to run promos that don't have English art, and to my knowledge that thing does not have an English art. And the reason why I specify English art when some cards are allowed to be in Japanese, like today's selfie for example, is because English art promos imply that we are automatically getting them somewhere in the future if we don't already have access to them, while other cards such as today's selfie, you know, she's in a booster set that we know is getting released soon, so we know, you know, that I can build a deck around it, while you know, the promos, we don't really know when they're getting released in English. So if they have an English art, that's kind of when I'm allowed to release the floodgates on some for some promos. But in this case, because we don't have that information, we're kind of just stuck with this one though. Either way, it's a nice card to have, and I do recommend that if you can get that order, go ahead, maybe even tech it down for 2 copies of this, because that order can get you rear guards on board, or, you know, tech down this card for 2 copies of that order, because honestly it is really good. Either way, a nice card to have 4 of. Then we have our last grade 1 of the deck, one of in the ride deck, none in the main deck, of hashtag ready to go Kyouka. Grade 1 boost 5 Kishode, AK base, all enrolled upon by a grade 2 card of Kyouka in its card name. Choose a grade between 1 and 3, declare it, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, show up to 1 unit card with the declared grade or a magazine from among them, doesn't have to be of the same grade, reveal it, put it to your hand, and shuffle your deck. So, cool. Basically, flip top 5 after declaring a grade 1, 2, or 3, and then add either a magazine or the declared grade to hand, or in the case of today's selfie, where is she? Today's selfie, Fredis, you just pick her because your Vanguard is a Kyouka. It doesn't have to be a specific grade, and, you know, she can count as a magazine. So, yeah, pretty much she's a target for Kyouka. All around pretty solid. Top 5 search for literally 1 of 3 cards, either magazine, this, or whatever the specified grade you're trying to hit is, and she's just a nice grade 1 to have in the deck, so she's a nice 1 of in the ride deck, none of the main deck, because obviously no rear guard skills. Then move on to our grade 2s. 4 copies of Blue Frontier Arch. So, aka the only card I think of when I talk about like restanders in D. Because for some reason, yeah, a lot of decks in D, if not, well, yeah, not every deck in D, but a lot of decks in D have restanders. For some reason, whenever I think of restanders in D, this is the first thing that comes to mind, and I cannot explain why. But anyways, Blue Frontier Arch, grade 2 and set 5k show 10k base, continues rear guard during your turn. If you played a magazine order this turn, she'll get plus 5,000 power regardless of what grade your Vanguard's at. So, you know, cool, if you play her on grade 2, and you're already on grade 2, and you play Lyrical Shooting Star S because you have 2 more grade 2 units, automatically you can give her plus 10, plus her additional 5k from just playing a magazine that turn, so you know she's a 25k during the turn where your opponent might just be at grade 1, which is a good beat stick. And then her other skill is auto rear guard once per turn at the end of your grade 3 or greater Vanguard attack. If you played a magazine order this turn, you can counter blast 1 and soul blast 1 to stand her. All around pretty solid. The best part about her is she does not require your Vanguard to be a Kyouka, meaning if you just, I mean, granted the magazines require you to be Kyouka, but if you ever find a way to remove the Kyouka requirement for the magazines, automatically Arch is splashable in any deck that could use it. But, you know, 15k basis by playing a magazine, probably 25k once you use the Shooting Star S on it, and then a simple counter blast and soul blast to stand her in a deck that, you know, has a soul charger. Yeah, she's pretty nice to use, and not to mention the fact the counter charger as well, to the point where you could consistently call 2 arches to the front row, and that way you have 5 attacks, and one of them is going to be swinging for at least 25 each time. All around, very solid grade 2 to have. I love her restand effect, I love her power, and maybe that's honestly why I constantly think about her, because I remember when she was revealed, that's when I started realizing that almost every deck in D had a restander in some way, shape, or form. And not to mention the fact as well, she's just one of my favorite restanders because of her simplicity and the fact that she's always a 25k swing. So, you know, saw 4 of, she's actually one of my favorite restanders, and I do like her a lot. And then we have 4 copies of Plenty of Research Noma. So grade 2 and set 5 Kishido 10k base. Auto, she's placed on the rear guard circle. Counter boss 1. Search after 1 magazine card. Reveal, put it to hand, and shuffle your deck. So pretty much CB1 to search your entire deck for your deck's main gimmick, or just search for Fredis because she does not have to be searched by Kyouka's ability. She just has to be searched by some ability. So cool. Free 2 targets from Noma, and then her other skills continues rearguard. If you play in a magazine order this turn, she gets boost. I think they just slapped the boost on there because they could. Like, I feel like they had a different second effect in mind, but they specifically gave her boost simply because, not because of Arch over here, but because they didn't have a choice, because, you know, she already searched your deck for Lyrical Shooting Star S and Frida, who's released the same day as her, but not to mention the fact that we already had knowledge of the Kyouka promo that was the other Lyrical Monasterio order, and then that's the fact that she could search that too, meaning she had 3 different search targets, all for the granted of CB of 1. So all around, Noma's pretty good. She's a booster. She can search your entire deck for 1 of 2 cards. What's I like about her? Easy 4 in the deck, and just great work with Arche, because, you know, you don't have to rely on Arche not being in front row with having a competing unit. You know, worst case scenario, you can call her to front row early on, and will pressure out your opponent with that. And not to mention the fact she works well. Both players are at grade 2, because she does not require you to be at grade 3. Hell, she doesn't even require a Kyouka Vanguard, so, you know, use whatever wire line you want with her, because you can still just search the magazine anyway, so 4 of Noma. Then we have our last grade 2 in the deck, one of them in the ride deck, and on the main deck of hashtag Hot Stuff Kyouka. Grade 2 at step 5k, show 10k base. Auto, she's wrote upon by a grade 3 card with Kyouka in its card name. Choose up to 1 magazine card from your drop zone, put it to your hand. If you put a card, counter boss 1, so up to 1 magazine card, reveal it, put it to your hand, shuffle your deck. Sorry, if you did not put a card, not if you did put a card. So all around pretty solid. You know, she's able to either add a magazine from drop zone to hand or add a magazine from deck to hand. Difference is 1 costs a CB, so, you know, don't really use a CB skill unless you have to, because Arch will end up taking up a lot of your CB if you use 2 of them each turn. But on the bright side, though, Recycle's possible ride deck discard fodder if you use the order as discard fodder, or, you know, deck bins for it if you have not already pulled one because maybe you didn't hit one off ready to go, which all around is pretty good. The ride line, like, auto does its job. Like, this checks top 5 for anything you could want to maximize the order's usage, or if you somehow miss the, or can get the order itself, but if you somehow miss the order, well, Kyouka can just fetch it out for you anyway. So all around, she's a very solid grade 1 or grade 2. I like her skill a lot. She's a nice 1 of them in the ride deck, none in the main deck because obviously no rear guard skills, but she does her job well. Then we want to our grade 3s, 2 copies of Early Adopter Lavissa, so grade 3, 200% 13k base, aka the tech out target if you do run the promo order. Act rear guard, retire this unit, choose a Lyrical Shooting Star S from your drop zone, put it to hand. Okay, cool. She retires herself, she gets the order back to hand. The reason why she's really in this deck is because she's another grade 3, and we want as many different grades on board as possible. Though, to be fair, thanks to the existence of this, she rarely hits the board anyways, especially because the order just says units, so the Vanguard already counts as one of the grade 3s. So again, this is what you replace if you run the promo order, but for now, you know, she's just there to help recycle the orders, and she's another grade 3 unit to have on board, so there's that, so 2 of her. Then we have 4 copies of Pure Gold Strands Elspeth, grade 3, 200% 13k base, auto rear guard at beginning of your battle phase. If you played a magazine order this turn, put her to soul, draw a card, choose one of your grade 2 units, and they'll get plus 5,000 power for that turn. All around pretty solid, because after you play your order, because typically you call your grade 3s to back 7, at least that's what I do, and then you build your rest of your columns around it. Then at the start of your battle phase, you send her to soul to help increase your soul for, you know, Arche abuse, and then you draw a card to replace her, and then you give someone else, probably one of the Arches, maybe the one, if you have 2 in the front row, then the one that you didn't give the 10k from the order to, an extra 5,000 power, so one of them swinging for 20 without Persona Ride, the other one swinging for 25 without Persona Ride, and all around that's pretty solid because both of them are going to restand that turn, and then you're pretty much having 2 attacks, one of which is always going to be a 10k drop at the very least, and the other one that's going to be a 15k drop at the very least, and if you Persona Road that turn, well, add an extra 10k to those drops. So all around is pretty solid. Elvis is a nice grade 3 to have in the deck because she does all of her skill for free. Not to mention the fact she gets you more hand cards, she gets you more numbers, and she's a grade 3 to have on board that ends up disappearing off the board. So yeah, she's a very nice 4 to have in this deck, and I do like her a lot. Then we have our last card in the deck, 3 of in the main deck, 1 of in the ride deck, of our main grade 3 herself, hashtag Make a Trend Kyouka. Grade 3, 200% 13k base, act Vanguard Circle once per turn, Soul Blast 1, choose a grade between 1 to 3, declare it, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 unit card with a declared grade, call it to Rearguard Circle, or choose up to 1 magazine card from among them, reveal it, put it to your hand, and shuffle your deck. All around pretty solid because top 5 search like the grade 1, and pretty much you either get a free Rearguard to board, a magazine to hand, or in the case of Fredis, because it still counts as looking at the deck, Fredis to hand. So basically you can pick grade 2 or grade 3, and then you are pretty much always guaranteed to either be able to pick Fredis, because it does count as choosing a magazine, pick a magazine, or actually get the units you need. Either way, though, Kyouka is good for that skill alone, and her other builds contains Vanguard. During your turn, if you played a magazine order, or magazine card that turn, all your former units get plus 5 in power. So, you know, she's an 18k, and considering the fact that she's not going to have a booster most time, because it's going to normally what you're going to place behind the Vanguard, she's not going to be as powerful, but at the same time, your rear guards, again, let's just go without Persona Rides, and say, for example, you had 2 Arch, and then you gave this to the weaker of the 2 Arches. One of them is at 30k. Cool. And the other one is at 25. The best part about this is all while your opponent's at grade 2, because none of these cards specify your opponent have to be at grade 3. So pretty much you have 5 attacks. Granted, it's going to cost you 2 CB and 2 soul, but you have 5 attacks that at least 4 of them are over 15k drops for. And, you know, you have your Vanguard, and your opponent is at grade 2 for all of this. Yeah, this deck kind of goes from 0 to 180 real quickly, and the only thing that is missing is some form of crit pressure and stun no restriction, and automatically Kyouka's tier 0. Either way, though, she's just a very nice card to have. She helps increase power. She's a simple Soul Blast to either get you more rear guards or more consistency to hand, and she's just a nice card to have in the deck, obviously, so 3 of in the main deck, 1 of in the ride deck. Without further ado, that's it for this deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. All around, this deck is actually fun to play, and that's saying something, because I think I was adamant about hating her when she first came out. Like, I loved Arche, don't get me wrong, I always loved her, but Kyouka herself, I was not a fan of when she first came out. But now, after playing the deck again after so long, it's really enjoyable, especially getting the double arch in the front row, and also, you know, having Persona Ride turns with Kyouka active. I mean, free 15 to the front row, oh, hell yeah, that's definitely fun to pull up, especially when, you know, when one of those arches, well, both arches are getting +5, and then also one of them's getting another +10, thanks to the order itself, and then one of them might even get another +5 off of, you know, Elsbeth over here. Is pretty much your opponent has to be ready to guard those at all time, and if they're not, well, they're probably losing that turn. Either way, that's it for this deck. I hope you guys enjoy, and that's it for DZ Set 2 deck profiles. So I really hope this was a blast for all of you, and even though I don't really care for Kyouka that much, I'm not that disappointed that she's our final deck for this one. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join us for Twitch, and I'll see you all in the next one. Don't forget to set up your Vanguards.